Facility is full. Oh my goodness. Please, for the love of God. The dead bodies, they're everywhere. There's no room for them.
What do you mean?
Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city that's tentatively called Second City. I was messing around with a few things. As you can notice, you might not have noticed, but as I noticed, over here I kind of upscaled some of these, or upzoned some of these lots. We've now crossed over 10,000 population, but I'm realizing we might be hitting a bit of a bottleneck. So if we look over at our services, electricity is costing us $190,000 a month. We are importing at a cost of $235,000 a month. So if I go over here to our actual electricity panel, we can see that we are consuming 23.54 megawatts of power. I think what's happening, we've kind of reached that moment where the amount of power we are using is costing us more to import than it would to just generate on our own. And so I looked over at the small coal power plant. It would cost between $5,000 and $45,000 a month to get up to about 20,000 megawatts. And then we could still import to offset the additional costs. I think I want to go ahead and build a power plant. You might notice too, I have this unlocked, the gas power plant. We can't afford that. It's $650,000, which is really not a big deal. But what is a big deal is that the upkeep is $300,000 to $397,000 a month. I want to be able to build a little bit of an industrial area that we leave in place for a while. I think over here could work. Now it is a bit hilly, which isn't ideal, but there is a relatively flat section here in an area that we already own. So I think before we buy anything, let's go ahead and build out a power station here and see if that changes anything for our finances. So first things first, we're gonna need some type of bridge that crosses over. I would like that bridge to kind of come to about this area. Like if I set this as just a straight road and we just drag this straight across, I think that's totally fine. We'll place that there. I'm gonna bring this back down to ground level. And at the moment, I'm gonna tie this into this intersection that we have over here with the intention of putting back in a roundabout. I think in the last episode before the game crashed, there was a roundabout here. So let's just add that back. We're just gonna do a very large grass roundabout just to try to deal with some of this traffic for now. I also think we are losing a decent number of people because of them being homeless. So hold on, this is like slightly unrelated, but I went over here earlier when I was just messing around with some things, and I noticed all these people walking this way, even walking along the side of this fence, like they're walking in the shoulder. And then I looked and I saw even more of them. They're all homeless. And so they're leaving the city because they have nowhere to live. Unfortunately, they're walking along a highway, presumably into nothing. So that's not ideal. We need more housing. But before we can get more housing, I think I could get power under control. So we've got a road, which looks great. The air here is blowing in a direction that's going to keep us protected from any type of pollution. And I would not want to have the power station directly on this road. So let's send a road straight on out. This will probably be somewhat gridded, but that's okay with me. And before anything, I'm going to build a parking lot. I really just need one for people who work here, really. So we're gonna place a parking lot here. This one is $2,400 a month, bit expensive, but I think it's gonna be worth it in the end. And then let's place one of these power plants. We're gonna do the small coal power plant, and let's see what happens. With the cost of the coal import and the cost of the small power plant, plus the cost of wages, it's costing us $90,000 a month. I do think that this is going to cost us less in the long run. We do seem to have a road connecting up, over, and underneath. Are we not producing enough water to satisfy the demand here? If we check on our water, yeah, our availability of water is not great. Sewage is not too bad, but if I recall, we can just increase those services here. Yeah, we're still functioning at 68%. Let's increase this to 78%. I don't think that might have been enough. Speed up time a little bit. Okay, it went up a bit. All right, let's increase it a bit further to, can we go to 90? 90 seems like probably the right number. Not much of a surplus though, goodness. How are we looking with power? So consumption 2347, production 20. We're importing now only 2.69 megawatts. Now let's jump back over here. Budget is up at 177 and service trade has gone down pretty drastically, which is great. Electricity is only at 98 instead of 190. Awesome. And then what I want to try to do here, we're producing enough. We could probably just increase the budget and offset some of this for now because we're still spending some money to import. Like if I were to take this budget to 130%, where would that put us in terms of consumption and production? We would be able to export a very little bit. Do we think the export is going to be enough to offset the cost? I don't think it is. But let's put it at 150 and just see what happens real quick. Okay, I've let this run for a few seconds here and we've kind of hit, I think, a plateau. We are now exporting enough power to make about $6,000 plus the fees we're making from our electricity, now only costing us $96,000, which is not bad. One thing I want to be mindful of is this thing runs off of coal. And it looks like the coal, bringing in 20 tons of coal, cost us $40,000 a month. And I think there's got to be a better way for us to bring coal into the city. So if we go over to production, we can see down here, coal is something that we are importing and it's costing us $40,000 a month. Can we mine coal from somewhere? What does coal mining require? Coal mine specialized industry can be set up on natural ore deposits to produce coal. Great. Okay, we could potentially get some coal from here, or we could also get some coal from back here and potentially buy this plot of land and begin to extract coal just north of the city. Which way is our air going? Our air is going this way. So we could begin to extract coal from up this portion. Let's send this up just a few units here. We're going to give it a curve. And then we're going to send it up a few units here as well. All right, let's check on where this natural deposit is. If we go over here to natural resources, basically all of this is a natural deposit. So I'm going to bring this road straight on up. And then I'm going to cut the road about here. I think one might be fine. Production deficit. So that's how much coal we need is 20.6. So let's see how much we can produce here. I think we can get away with basically producing all of our coal right here. I'm going to send this to here and back up. And then what we're going to do is if we go back into this, we can edit the resource, add another node, and snap onto the 90 there, which means we're now going to be producing a decent amount of coal. Although I don't want that building. So here, move this up. Yeah, we don't need that. I don't like that building at all. Oh, it came back. I'll scoot this back. I'll scoot this back. We don't want you. There we go. We got rid of that mine there, which is great. Oh, it is delivering some coal. Where are you delivering this coal to? By happenstance, are you delivering this coal to our coal facility? You are. Exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to start to see this amount go down. I'm hoping that happens sooner rather than later. All around, we are doing a bit better here with our production, which is great. Now, we also have this other facility I've never looked into before. This is the French electrical substation. This is just a transformer like this transformer, but I can sneak this into the city somewhere. That's actually not too bad. I will go ahead, since there's no upgrades to this building, I'm going to place an alley along the sides and back. I did not necessarily mean for it to be one way, although it looks like one way does have parking. So what we'll do is just keep it for now. Go ahead and place that there. Place another one, place another one, place another one, and place one more, which that one can be a bit bigger. Okay, so now I've got a little bit of business down here, a little bit of commercial, still importing, which isn't great, but there's nothing else we can do about that. And we are starting to get resources stored in here, which is great. So that might end up helping us in the long run. But for now, we'll leave that part there. All right, the next thing we need to deal with is this garbage. So garbage is beginning to pile up. And I also noticed that when I was flying around the city, there was a row of houses I was looking at just kind of for fun. These guys here. If you look, all of their trash cans are full. There's trash sitting outside the trash can. Even over here, there's trash that's overflowing. These dumpsters back here are full and there's trash piling up around them. So we're definitely having a trash issue in our city. We've kind of started 2 new industrial zones. We've got one over here on the outskirts of the city to this side and one over here on the outskirts of the city to this side. If we look at these natural resources, I don't think that there are more that we can gather from the northern section of this area. So we could have some garbage collection up here. It would be blowing all in the opposite direction of our current development. And I don't see us going up here to build anything just yet. So I think for now this could work. And this would be beneficial because you could just immediately take this small road here called Crescent Street and head right down into the city and get to the highest population area, I think, pretty fast. Alternatively, we could place it over here. It would blow the pollution north this way, which is fine. I have no issue with that. I think my concern with building this here is that I will probably start to build out some suburbs here in this area. And of the 2 sections, I think this is probably where we're going to start developing more. This is going to be the heart of the city. But I think this area is going to have far more... Oh no. Weather damage. The structure is being damaged by bad weather. What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What bad weather? Weather damage. The structure's being damaged by bad weather. It seems to have corrected itself. Okay, I think we are starting to see some disasters, which is a whole nother problem I haven't even dealt with yet. But my concern with putting our trash collection over here by our new building is that right now this infrastructure is absolutely not able to support our city. Look at this. I mean, we are backed all the way up to here and we're just struggling to get people through. So I'm afraid if we build anything here, we're just going to cause problems for ourselves. So I would say, let's go ahead and build our first dump over in this area. Now, what is the cost? $15,000 a month. It still has medium air pollution, but we can absolutely absorb $15,000. I do want to avoid placing it on top of this aquifer because who knows, maybe one day we'll need to access that. I can't imagine we would, but for now, let's place this right here. Actually, let's send the road out this way. And let's place it along this road here. It's still gonna be along Strawberry Street, but facing the opposite direction. I'd like it to go right there. It's not gonna be a massive dump, but it can store 601 tons, and in total it's costing us $62,000 a month. So we've now kind of really taken a hit to those, the money we were bringing in from our electricity. All right, is there any area here that we could probably cut back on some things? I don't really believe there is. Could increase the service fee of the water and reduce some of that water consumption. People are all around pretty happy about walking to the elementary school. There are some complaints about the mail service though, which I would be interested in potentially adding in some mail service. I am going to reduce our efficiency of our police station for the moment down to 70. I'm also going to reduce the fire down to 80. Education I don't really want to mess with. Garbage I'm going to reduce down to 50%. So if I reduce the efficiency, it changes how many trucks are in use. These trucks are all going to be returning. We'll only have 5 trucks in use. And then the other 15 will be in maintenance. I kind of think I'm fine with that. I think I'm fine with that. Let's leave that as is. That just keeps our money bolstered until people really begin to complain. I'm not going to worry about it all too much. Now, hold on. If we look over here, we're having another issue with water. You guys aren't getting any. And our power plant isn't getting any. We are not producing enough water. Okay. If I double check our service costs here, The budget was never back up at 100. Oh, you know what? This is why. This has garbage piling up. It's unable to do what it needs to do with the garbage piling up. I don't see anybody coming this direction just yet, but let's see. I think this will get solved once we get the garbage collected from this building. However, for now, the garbage has allegedly piled up, and that is severely impacting the efficiency. It would be valuable, I think, to consider giving a school to Elizabeth Crossing. There are 541 residents, and 43 of them are uneducated, with 239 of them poorly educated. So let's go ahead and get them just a small education facility. They're going to have a small elementary school, nothing too extravagant. I think it's going to come over here and take over this little corner right there. And then we're going to set the operating district just to this area, and we'll see how that runs. It does cost me $20,000 a month, and we're starting to get a little dicey. I mean, we're only at $175,000, which is not great. So let's hope we can clear this garbage soon, because, oh boy. Okay, you're now collecting. Where are you off to first? Don't collect from them. They're fine. They don't need it. They're doing just fine. Go collect from the water department. This is why you don't have accessible drinking water, because there's no trash pickup. No, he's driving out of the city. That's not helpful. Where are you headed to? You're going this way. We love to see it. Are you leaving? Oh my gosh. Okay, it's gonna take some time. I don't think we're going to get it anytime soon. In the meantime, let's see what we can do here. So we're bringing in a decent amount of money from industrial. I'm going to increase the industrial taxes by 1%. It's probably going to be a problem, and people are going to be very upset about it, but it is what it is. And then I am going to also increase the taxes of the highly and well-educated, and then reduce the taxes of the uneducated. So hopefully that gives us a little bit of extra money, can help balance this budget. Almost. We were nearly there. What is costing us so much? Imported electricity. Hold on. We're importing electricity again? It's because the garbage is piling up. With that, I think we need to do a few things. Obviously, what we have going on at the entrance of the city is not enough to deal with. That one entrance is just not going to work. So what we need to do is we need to build another entrance here. Now we got to reconnect this power line. So I think what we do is we take this transformer is coming into here and sending power into the power line, then, or excuse me, the power station. Then this needs to come across somehow. So I think what we do is we go to here, reduce the elevation step until we can cross. We can cross right here. There we go. Okay, so now we have another entrance, and I think this is also just going to help us get additional people over here. Facility is full. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Who knew episode 3 was where all the problems were going to start? Okay, so now we need to figure out what we're doing about our graveyard. This facility, unfortunately, is full. And if we were to add one of these expansions, they cost $20,000 a month, which is just more than I can reasonably afford. So I think what we're going to do for $20,000 a month, we can just get a whole new church, which holds 100 deceased. This would only add an additional 50. I don't think it would last us very long. So I do think we have to consider building another one of these death care facilities. We've really got to get this under control here. So let's just see what's going on. Are you doing better? Marginally so. You're now costing $113,000 a month, but no, the garbage is still piling up. Think what that means is more likely than not that we're gonna have to just increase the amount of garbage trucks that we currently have. This one's headed that way. Good for them. This one is still over here in Boulder Hill. No one has addressed this over here yet. I mean, if we're already losing money, let's just keep losing money. Put this to 100. Let's get things under control, and then we can get more frugal with it. Send out the trucks. Now, this is also already stored far more garbage than I was anticipating. Let's go ahead and expand how far this building is zoned for. There we go. Now we can do 900. Oh, starting to snow. 939 tons a month. And then let's go ahead and get this. We got to get these guys cleared out. Maybe it would have been smarter to build the garbage facility next to the power station. This is going to cause us to go broke. And here I was thinking, I've got a plan. This is going to be great. I don't know if it's great. I don't know if it's great. We do need a bit more commercial. And that I can get into. There's a little bit more there. We'll even place some up this way for the people who live in this neighborhood so they have some places to work. We could replace kind of this strip with some commercial. I think, wouldn't it be a terrible idea? I don't want it to be that big though. Can I have a smaller thing? I guess not. The trash has been cleared from the power plant, which has significantly reduced the costs we're dealing with here. Huzzah. But we are still not producing enough power. Would we be able to get away with putting in a turbine? I don't know if there's anywhere that's actually going to benefit us with this. Like, if we put it over here, it's only going to produce 1.7. If we put it over here, it's only going to produce 1.8. Like, for the cost, I just don't know if it's worth it. The dead bodies, they're everywhere. There's no room for them. Can someone, please, for the love of God, oh my gosh, here they come. You're the greatest person alive. Okay, this truck is about to empty out the water pumping station. Let's see what this does for our budget here. So just keep in mind, the water pumping station is currently operating at 52% efficiency because so much garbage has piled up. That's costing us $19,400 a month so that we can produce just barely enough water. But once we get this cleared out, this will then be able to function at 105% efficiency because it has a bonus. It still costs the same amount of money. However, we're now producing more than enough water. With that in mind, let's go to our water. Let's reduce the budget to 80% and see what that does for our production. Still more than enough. Fantastic. We could think about taking out a loan, if I'm being totally honest. The city's monthly expenses will soon exceed the available income. Consider reducing the loan or raising taxes to increase the city's income. Surplus 24,699. So that's how much monthly balance surplus we have. Okay, we're going to slow down this game a little bit. I think what we should consider is trying to get more people in here. I think we could do that. I know that I want to eventually take this highway and extend the highway along this back end of this high school. But for now, I think we could find a way to sneak in a bit more zoning, bring in a little bit more of a tax base, and go from there and see what happens. All right, let's go ahead and give this a small alleyway just like we did before. Let's give this a small alleyway, and we'll even do one that goes this way just because we can. And for here, we're still going to use these types of buildings. Let's send this out. Honestly, let's send this out just all the way across and let them build on whatever road they prefer. This can just function as the back alley. That's totally fine. We'll do this similar thing here. Let them zone on whatever road they prefer. For this, we've got a nice 3 and 3. So if we go like this, no, all the zoning's along that road. So I got to fix that one. And I got to fix that one. Okay, let's do that real quick. Let's come over here. Let's upgrade both of these, forcing that zoning into the center. Then we can fill in all of this. And then we do have some demand for low density. So let's go ahead and do a Small house here. Small house here. It's not perfect zoning, but for the moment, this will do. And just get us some additional people in here. For this one, though, there's no reason we can't force you guys to zone in a more realistic spot here. Do a tiny little 2 for 2. And now we actually have some demand for for high density. It's a little bit far away from everything else. But I could consider doing 3 units here of the French housing. Okay. That's going to bring in some more people. It did not do anything beneficial for our monthly surplus, which is still struggling. We could borrow a significant amount of money, and we might end up needing to do that. I do think that our industrial... Let's see if we can figure this out. It may appear like our industrial has actually gone down because of that small tax increase. So if we come down here to jobs, industrial jobs. Yeah, it looks like since that tax increase, there's actually been some companies who have left. So I think we're going to actually undo that tax increase that the industrial sector saw. Bring it down to 12. That hopefully will spur more development. And then I'm going to also go ahead and reduce these back down to 11. It's going to cause a hit to the budget. We're now only having a surplus of 4,000. But I think for now that's decent enough. We still don't have a solution for the facility that's full over here, but we are producing enough power. We are producing enough water. Electricity is actually bringing in a bit of a surplus, which is great. All right, with that in place, let's just check what else is going on because there's been so much happening. I feel like I haven't taken a breath. So we know our roads aren't doing great. Specifically, if you look at the road conditions, I desperately need to get one of those road units, or the road care buildings, but I don't think we can afford it at the moment. Until this tax base resettles, we're kind of in a negative spot here, although I think we might be breaking even soon. We also could look at our healthcare. All around average health, 56%. There's no availability. I do think a crematorium is something we have to think about. Let's go ahead and purchase that and just see what it would cost us. If I go to health, crematorium, how much do you cost to run? $240,000 to build, $18,000 a month. The French crematorium is $120,000 to build, $12,400 a month. It has a similar processing capacity with a smaller amount of storage, and it has half the number of hearses. However, it doesn't produce any noise pollution, which is kind of nice. So we could afford to build this, and then we'd be able to afford to build nothing else. But we could afford to build this, or we could think about building the actual cemetery. Challenge there being, I can't absorb a $22,000 a month fee at the moment. So I don't know if that's going to work out for us. We are seeing a bit of traffic here on Myrtle Street. All right, milestone 7 unlocked. We're now a busy town. Whew, there was a little bit of an injection of cash there, which was very much needed. Okay. Let's also spend some of our money here on roads. I want to look at we have 13 points. Let's unlock highways and let's unlock large roads. I want to build a highway that comes along the back end here. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that with our current funds, though. We might have to save that for the next parks. I don't know if we can make that happen. Okay, so we were looking at our different supports here. I think at this point, with people dying and seeing this symbol popping up in a few places, we just kind of have to bite the bullet. I'd say let's go ahead and build a crematorium. We're going to build a French crematorium just because it's a bit smaller, and for now, that's going to have to do. And then let's find a place to put this. Let's go ahead and place this. I'm thinking we could... Ooh, you know what? This is never zoned in. Let's place this right here. And with that there, we can go ahead and set this building to empty, right? Maybe not. Oh, I thought we could empty this building. Well, either way, we now have a crematorium. It's going to start collecting some of these bodies and getting some of these dead people out of the way. All right, so with this built, we are able to start not producing, we're able to start collecting some of the dead bodies here. I think what we're going to do, since this is able to process bodies, it's costing us $30,000 a month. This over here is completely full. So it's costing us $24,000 a month to be completely full, and I don't see a way to empty it. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to go ahead and just turn this off. We're going to turn this out of service. It's going to cost $880 a month just to sit there, which is fine with me. Our budget is still severely taxed. And I just don't know how to get this back. What happened? Parks, half that budget. These parks are going to suck. Police, half that budget. Education, we might even need to half that budget. Honestly, I think I know we just built this police station. It still costs $40,000 a month. I think that needs to go out of service for a little bit. Sorry guys, crime's on the rise, and that is just gonna happen. So unfortunately, it's a dangerous place over here in Second City, but we are making money, which is a nice change. How are we doing on taxes? $158,000, $73,000 from commercial, $241 for industrial, and $22 for offices. I do want to just check. Are these things going up or are they going down? If we look at residential taxes, over the past 6 months, they've been staying pretty similar. Commercial taxes took a significant hit for some reason. Don't really know why. Industrial taxes have leveled off, and office taxes have been slowly on the decline. I think that's really probably connected to the fact that we don't have very many educated workers. Parking fees are on the rise. Electricity fees are on the rise. Water fees are on the rise. Garbage fees are on the rise. Healthcare fees on the rise. Everything else is going up. And then if we look at service trade, exported electricity, we are beginning to export some electricity for some amount of money, which is great. Now let's look at our expenses and see what's going on here. Service upkeep, slowly increasing over time, but nothing too crazy. Imported electricity actually has decreased drastically. We've not imported any water or sewage, so that's great. Subsidies, residential subsidies, commercial, industrial, and office, none of those are in effect, and we don't have any loan interest. Okay, the crime rate, this hasn't even tracked in the last year any crime rate. So you know what? We might have built this police station way too early. It's here. Eventually, we'll get to enjoy it. Somehow we've done a full 360 though. I've cut out expenses left and right, and yet we're still having an issue with the monthly balance. Do have some commercial demand. So, in the spirit of ignoring our problems and just moving right along, let's get a few more commercial buildings. I think over here, we have this area. Here's a few people living there. I wouldn't want to disrupt them just yet, but we'll put some commercial buildings next to our school. We could even consider doing some commercial over here in this industrial land that we have. It's a bit heavy. Ooh, quick little autosave. It's a bit heavy on the traffic, but I think that's okay. Give them another little commercial building there. That's beginning to address that demand. Is there enough demand that I could place some commercial over here? Looks like we can get at least one in there, which is good. We'll go ahead and we will turn off snapping to the sides of buildings and place in a nice little pathway there. I think that looks pretty good. And you're operating at 128 efficiency, which is great. The last thing we're going to do while we sit here and try to get our money into a more positive place is I think I'm going to take this plot of land right here. It's pretty flat, so it's going to be relatively gridded. But I think what we're going to do is we are going to build out just a little bit more. Actually, you know what? We're going to build out one more block going back. That's what I think is going to happen. So how long is this? This is roughly 136 blocks total, or meters total. Let's send that all the way through. Frankly, just send it right up at the 90. Don't even think twice about it. And I'm going to say this is a small enough incline or decline that we're just going to send that along just like so. All right, and then we're just going to build this out. I think we will do some upzoning really quickly before we go further here. Let's go ahead and put in more row homes. We do have more demand for regular schmegular low density housing. So I think what I'm going to do, let's in this central area just do one big block. Let's see if that can address most of that demand. It might. It looks like it's falling pretty drastically. While we wait, we're going to just do a little bit more decoration, a little bit more building out. This can have a path coming straight on through to kind of match the rest of these blocks here. I like that a lot. And this area had a alleyway, which I am going to continue. It's going to cause the deletion of that building and going to cause the deletion of that building, but we have demand for commercial, so that's totally fine. We have unlocked mixed housing, which is great. So what we can do now is in certain areas, like maybe along here, we can replace one of these commercial buildings with a mixed use housing building. And this building is now going to, I'm going to lose this revenue from this particular building because I really should have left that alone. It's bringing in $1,500 a month. Leave that one be. Don't mess with her. She didn't hurt anybody. Let's go ahead and change something over here. I know that our offices are bringing in very little in terms of taxes. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. We'll place a mixed use housing building there and see what zones in. Might not be anything for the time being, and that's okay if that's the case. Looks like we're ready to receive a bit more low density housing. So we'll fill in that zone there. And I wouldn't mind, I think, also filling in this zone as well. So we'll have a few more blocks of low density as our city begins to expand southwards towards Middle Street, which I will say, that's actually kind of a great name for that road. Everything here is working fine. 128% efficiency, 82% efficiency, which is being caused by the service cut that we did to our water department. That was intentional though, because we're producing more than we actually need. So I'm not at all pressed about that. Production here, we're exporting a little bit. And if I recall, we're spending everything we possibly can on electricity. Yeah, there's nothing we're going to be able to do there. Let's reduce the budget for our roads down even further. It's going to make things way worse. Accidents are going to be worse, and without police, there's no first responders. Traffic is going to be worse, but I think in the end, it'll be worth it. We are ending in the positive. Knock on wood. I hope you could hear that. I actually knocked on wood. I don't think we can expand to any industries at the moment. There's really no room for us to do that. There's no upgrades or anything for these buildings. This is operating the way it should be, though. The electricity fee is impacting it slightly, but nothing too crazy. Our stored garbage is about to be far more than we can actually handle. We're gonna have to figure out a way to offset this. If I just hit start emptying, like what happens? Does it like begin to go down? If I say empty, where does the empty go? 908 tons. I guess you guys will take it out of the city? It didn't take long for this to fill, if I might add. Like this filled very fast, which is unfortunate because for $62,000, I would hope it would do more than that, but maybe not. We're now back up at 100. No, we're not. That was a farce. Something jittered there. I don't know what it was. I'm wondering if we're going to start running into issues again with garbage collection. I think it might be valuable to consider building a second garbage facility. It would be much smaller, much smaller. But let's give this a shot. Before we do, though, if we check on the garbage here, we could look at an incinerator. I just know an incinerator is expensive. Just buy it for the sake of it. It's $1 million with an upkeep of $105,000 per month. I mean, that is bonkers. All right, go ahead and place another trash facility here. It's a much smaller facility, which isn't ideal. And actually is probably hurting me in the long run that these facilities are so small, because I don't know if the price changes any for a smaller facility versus a large facility. Like if I look at this, let's actually figure this out together. This is $62,000 a month. This is also $62,000 a month. This can process 937,000 tons, or tons, excuse me. This can only process 899 tons, but it costs the same amount. And if I look here, I'm not using this circle as efficiently as I could. So we're going to make a quick change to this. It's going to make a really ugly hill over here, and all these poor people have to look out over to this dump. But soon's a strong word. Eventually, there will be a highway that protects them. Okay, we're back to a really, really meager financial place, which I don't love. Now this is able to absorb 1,826 tons. And that is where we're going to leave this part here for the day. We are going to hopefully recover from this. I mean, I have absolutely no idea. If you guys have any suggestions on how to turn this around and actually make some money, I'll take them. It's a good conflict to have, good problem, a little bit of a challenge. We like a challenge, but I'm afraid to do anything with only $140,000 in the bank. Crime symbols are already starting to pop up, but let's just quickly look at crime rate is still technically at 0. So until people start leaving because the crime is so bad, I'm not going to mess with anything. We're going to leave it alone. We're just going to let it sit, even if there are tons of symbols saying we've got crime. In the next part, depending on where the budget is, I might be playing a little bit of whack-a-mole. If we can get this budget to stabilize, I might build a little bit of a highway, and maybe we'll take out a loan to do that. But I think we could potentially increase some of the throughput of our citizens and get people that are just driving through to bypass, which might help reduce the impacts on the roads, reducing the number of accidents, and hopefully slowing down some of this traffic, because that might be playing a part in some of this difficulty. But we won't know until the next time. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you all in the next one.